Welcome to my thoughts on Star Wars Maul, Shadow Lord, Season 1, Episode 5, Chapter 5, Inquisition. The episode is for, I believe, ages 12 and up. Certainly this video will be. There will be spoilers for the show so far, and potentially everything Star Wars leading up to it as well. And another episode that I absolutely loved. So, yeah. I'm going to try not to just restate what I've said in other episodes. They continue to have the same strengths. I guess, yeah, I thought they did a good job with the, complicating the whole situation with the Lawsons. I thought worked well. I think I'm gonna try to keep this more or less chronological. But yeah, listen, I think at some point there is such a thing as too many dramatic shots of like the Empire being fascists, but it hasn't happened yet. This really worked for me. I love what was it, Lieutenant Blake, with this face that's like, so yeah, impy version of Agent Smith. You know, he is like just one Melo rune a bite away from like talking about how, you know, these people are so beneath him and, you know, they're like a virus or something. Just, he looks as though every single thing about this planet offends him to his core. The moment that he steps off the you know, there's not even like a honeymoon period. As soon as he's on the planet, it's yeah. And yeah, Two Boots being you know, they talk about, well, that's the programming, you know. And yeah, he's just like, well, I mean, you don't have, it's okay, I forgive you, you know, you don't have to worry about it. There shouldn't be any other problem. Yeah, the Empire's here and they're going to resolve the matter. And, you know, Lawson's like, well, what do you think they're going to just leave afterwards? And he's like, I don't have enough information to make an assessment about that. Because of course he doesn't. He was programmed by the Empire. I love the little shot where, you know, Lawson is like turning, oh, you know, where's the next Imperial going to come from? And he's like, oh no, and it's Two Boots, because technically Two Boots is an Imperial. You know, it's, yeah, really nicely done. And yeah, the thing about, like, you know, they discuss which one is taking the blame, and then Blake comes in and just has her taken to interrogation, and later, you know, permanently reassigned, which, you know, I'm pretty sure is like Star Wars newspeak for like she's in prison and that's where she's gonna be because they consider her responsible. And I'm not sure if they genuinely accept what Lawson said, or if like they mulled it over and they're like, listen, it's just a matter of time before he's gonna screw up, so let's just watch him, you know. Which certainly, considering the end of this episode, is not good. And I think that does bring us nicely to the yeah, I think that's around where we have, so yeah, the two Jedi, you know, hiding. And I really like the you know, this line so freaking good, they put it in at least one of the trailers. We may, you know, the Empire may be our common enemy, but Maul will never be our ally, you know. And talking about, like, you know, she is starting to perhaps be a tiny bit seduced by the evil, you know, the dark side, by Maul, you know. And let's see, I think that pretty much, yeah, really great when they're, you know, they have to run and hide, and the not great as a, like, I mean, it's effective drama. Obviously, it's terrible. You know, no one should have to, you know, do that. The let's see, the yeah, I did really appreciate. So, you know, so far I think the show has been pretty good at not being like just overwhelmed by fan service. So I like that there was one bit of very clear fan service there. Like I have to wonder if the first time they tried to do the line, the actor did accidentally say, "These aren't the droids you're looking for." Oh, sorry, that's not the exact right. Because it's just like that. But they subvert it with someone else nearby being like, "Why'd you let him go? You didn't see their identification." And he like has to snap out of it because it's like, well, no, they're free to go. Wait, what? We're the Empire. We're not supposed to just let people go. What kind of a fascist am I? And yeah, very cool as they fight their way out of there. And yeah, we get various examples of the fascism. So we have the part about how all travel has been halted, or off-world travel rather, obviously not on-world. And yeah, like clearly they are clamping down hard. And they're walking the streets, checking to see people's identification and intimidating them. There's one where the guy, the trooper, I think it was, certainly an Empire goon. He was like, "You look like you know something," just like, what? Like, I mean, okay, if you think this person knows something, it's fine to talk to them, but like, you don't have to be so intense about it. Just like, yeah, power trip. Obligatory reference to ICE and American police in general. I don't know. Are these getting too much? I feel like I've made that point so many times in my videos, but it is apt, I feel. And that's, I appreciate this coming out at a time when we are still, yeah. I think sadly it's going to be a while before American law enforcement are not, really showing how much they did actually, and this is a historical fact. You can look it up. You don't have to take my word for it. Please don't take my word for pretty much anything. Just always look it up. I'm just trying to make sure these ideas are disseminated to people who, might watch my videos but not watch, other, might not have heard these ideas before. So something like that. But yeah, American police, like the let's see, I can never quite remember if it's that their predecessors were, or if it's that they were, or they were inspired by, but there was something about, like, there's some direct connection between American police today and the slave patrols. Yeah, cops are there to protect the rich from the rest of us. They're not there to keep us safe. And, some decades ago, that was more well, I suppose by now it is becoming clearer to more and more people, but there was a while where it wasn't, and it was just branding. It was propaganda. It wasn't that people actually saw with their own two eyes, oh, no, these, when I deal with the cops, they actually treat me well, even though I'm not rich. That's not really, I mean, it's more likely to happen if you're white, because they might suspect that you're related to a judge or something, but other than that, yeah. Anyway, I think that does get us to the yeah. So they bring Lawson in to interrogation, and we see the the marks on the desk, and Maul is there ominously on the a hollow of him, not literally him, and yeah, obviously, Lawson is in a bad spot, because as the interrogator points out, how did you survive? You were one of the few survivors of this raid, and proceeds to point out, listen, Captain, let's cut to the chase, shall we? We both know there's only one way you could possibly have walked out of there alive. This is Star Wars. You have plot armor, you are a major character, and you know something. And I think that does pretty much, yeah, seeing Riley, he sneaks in and, is escorted out. Thankfully, it's by Two Boots. He could really, I was genuinely worried this was going to go much, much worse for him. And, Two Boots genuinely doesn't understand the severity of the situation. And, Riley, contacts his mom. I can work with this. So basically, she is a true believer. She doesn't seem like an evil person, but she's fallen for the propaganda, and that is like not everyone who supports, I'm not trying to make some excuse. I think I've made it pretty clear, I am 100%. I cannot stand fascists and any dictatorial ideology in general, but it is a fact that there are some people who are simply fooled by the lies. And it is important to, maybe someone personally who genuinely thinks, no, this is right. And maybe they can be reached, possibly not by you personally, but maybe you can put them in touch with someone who can reach them, And I thought they so far I'm okay with how they're depicting this character. I'm tiny bit nervous still, but I'm hoping that this is how it's going to be. And I do quite like that, she's like, okay, you just got to play this by the book. Okay, no rule breaking. And then by the end of the episode, so Dad, rule breaking, just, yeah. And of course, like, because he seems like a good kid. He seems to genuinely care. And of course, if these two come in and they're like, yeah, I 100% buy. We haven't spent that much time with Riley thus far, but based on what we've seen, I do feel like this is how he would react to this situation. And Spybot does find out and sends it back to Maul, and he considers it fortuitous. Right, also like Vario, the thing about like, oh, you're free to go. Try your luck with the Empire. I guess I'll stay here. And a little bit of dissent in the ranks for the Mandalorians. That might not go so well for Maul, because they genuinely might be able to get, cause serious problems for him and his operation. And I know Rook said, oh, you're going to follow orders. Yeah, Mandalorians follow orders until they don't, though. That's not the most, it's not like they're clone troopers or something. Let's see. Yeah, clone troopers, Order 66, that, they really, really struggle to not, follow their orders. But Mandalorians, it's not as much of a, because, they lay out the problems very nicely there. I think that might just... I like the detail that Maul early in the episode is in pain and like limping, and then later we see he's still being repaired. Presumably he was being repaired all that time. I don't really see what else is he doing right now. So yeah, that's how long it took to deal with the yeah. And I think that does pretty much... I feel like there's at least one more thing I really wanted to make sure to say about this episode, so I'm just going to really quick mentally fast forward through the entire thing, and yeah, maybe that is everything. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the further developments. Continue to really appreciate the pacing of this show. Like, an argument could be made that, should they just have released this as 5 episodes and made each, just combined, episodes 1 and 2 into episode 1 and so on and so forth. But, it's, it works for sure. And, I don't know. I'm definitely worried about the Lawson family, how it's going to go there after the end of this episode. Because, I don't know. I'm not sure that Riley has fully thought through the potential consequences here, But in his defense, nobody expects the Imperial Inquisition